Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Why It Didn't Work. The show where I look at shows that showed promise in certain areas but then completely disappointed and dropped a bandwagon as it went on. In the show, I mostly focus on recently aired anime, and this episode we'll discuss the anime Welcome to the Ballroom.
The anime centers around third-year middle school student, in the second half first-year high school student, Tatora Fujita, who has no dreams or plans for his future. He is trying to find something that he can pursue in his life and is saved from some delinquents by a man named Kamina Sengoku, who he later discovers is a dance instructor. Inspired by his ballroom dancing, Tatora enters the dance studio in which he is shown the ropes of the world of competitive ballroom dancing. What started out as a show that showcased a sport that's never really been done in anime that much before, and one that I particularly like, quickly dissolved into a shonen-like anime with cliched tropes and a bad production value and execution that badly adapts the original manga.
In this show, I'll talk about various aspects of the show and talk about why it didn't work and why the show ended up the way it was instead of what it could have been. I'll be talking about the production value and how the dance scenes compare to the manga, the characters and their interactions, and the anime's misleading understanding of how ballroom dancing works. I'll also be comparing some of the points in terms of the production and execution of the dance scenes to Yuri on Ice. With this, I'll talk about how the dance performances work and compare them with each other to show how Yuri on Ice does it better than Welcome to the Ballroom. So without further delay, here is why it didn't work. Welcome to the Ballroom. We'll start off by talking about the production value of the anime in terms of its animation and music during the dance scenes, which take up a majority of the episodes.
While the animation looks alright overall, it's the autonomy of the characters that make it look so bad. The proportion of characters just don't look right. Their legs, arms, and especially their necks are elongated and just don't look natural. I mean, my god, look at those necks! It looks so wrong. And because the body is important in watching ballroom dancing, the animation makes it unenjoyable to watch. Like, I do know that in ballroom dancing, it's important to have your body be upright and for your neck to be stretched out and long, but nothing to this extreme.
I'm sorry, but this is just insane. It's like I'm watching a bunch of giraffes in fancy attire on a dance floor. Alright, so the proportions are off. That's always a thing that happens in anime. As long as the dancing is fluid and has a lot of speed, it should be fine. Thing is that the anime likes to use a lot of stills. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot.
We barely see the characters move around or do some fun dance moves. Just still after still after still after still. I'm sorry, but when I want to watch a dance being animated, I want to see a goddamn dance being animated. If I wanted to look at 2D animated stills of the characters dancing, I would just read the manga. Speaking of which, the dancing scenes are done so much better in the manga. Not only do the proportions of the body parts look so much better in the manga, but the dance scenes really pop out. Look at the line work, look at the energy, look at the expressions of the characters, look how the dance just leaps off the pages. Animation should have put this great art into motion, but it just feels like I'm watching the pages moving slightly. And this stilted animation really goes against the anime.
When the characters actually move and perform the dance moves, it looks fine. I just wish that there was so much more of it here. The anime doesn't make me want to dance watching the characters, the manga does. And those are just pictures.
Though I will say that the one thing that I liked about the animation in the dance scenes is the way that the shoes sound against the floor. The anime focuses a lot of its shots sometimes at the movement of the character's feet. When this happens, you hear the steps and the squeaks across the dance floor. I actually kind of like this. In these moments, you feel the movement and energy of the dance. It's also a nice detail because when you usually watch ballroom dancing, you don't hear these sounds because of the loud music, the excitement of the audience, and because of the quickness of the feet.
So it was a nice detail that I really enjoyed. Another thing that affected the dance scenes was the music that played as the characters dance. In ballroom dancing, there are certain music that match the dancing styles that the dancers are performing. For example, for the foxtrot and quickstep, the music is quick and energetic. For the waltz and tango, the music is slow and sensual.
It's important for the music to match the performances, otherwise they won't connect. And in Welcome to the Ballroom, the music does just this. Sometimes when starting a dance, the music will be appropriate to the type of dance that they are doing, but after a minute or so, the music will change to the anime soundtrack. which was usually generic and, most importantly, didn't match the dance style that the characters were performing. This is yet another factor that totally ruins the performances that would otherwise be the highlight of each episode.
I want to see these characters perform nice choreography while listening to music that matches it. But if the anime just relies on stuff like animation stills, excessive monologuing, and flashbacks during the dance scenes, and the music not matching the performances, it isn't enjoyable to watch and will make you fall asleep. And that is something that ballroom dancing should never make you feel. Now let's compare this to a recent anime that had dancing in it, Yuri on Ice. Now while Yuri on Ice is about ice skating as opposed to Welcome to the Ballroom's ballroom dancing, a lot of components are the same, at least in how they should be presented in the anime.
Both are a form of dance, and the way that Yuri on Ice show it in its execution is so much better than how it's done in Welcome to the Ballroom. First is that the anime shows the character's full routine. Though each character has the same routine that they perform every time they are in a competition, it changes because of accidental mess-ups or the fact that the characters get better and better at it. We see the routine from beginning to end with almost no breaks in between. Not only that, but the music matches the dance and plays for its entire run. The music also matches the character and the arc that they're going through. This helps the viewer get more interested because the music matches the dancing, and it's a dance that we get to see all the way through.
Though it is a little annoying to see it over and over again every episode, it is much better than anything that Welcome to the Ballroom did with their dances.
Yuri on Ice also has more fluid animation than opposed to Welcome to the Ballroom. While we do get the occasional still shot here and there, for the majority of the time we see the dance routine and it looks awesome. The moves are great, the proportions are just right, and it's great to watch in its full entirety. The animation does falter a bit in the anime's TV broadcast, as the anime does dip at times and shots of the audience are repeated again and again. But then again, it's more enjoyable than what Welcome to the Ballroom did. All of this manages to make all of the performances tense. What I mean by this is that when you see the full routine uninterrupted, you hope that the character doesn't mess up. So when the character jumps in to perform their set, you get nervous for them. Because of this, you either moan when they mess up, or you cheer when they manage to stick the landing. The energetic voice of the announcer during the routine helps this as well.
With all of these elements combined, the audience can get invested in the characters and their dance performances, which makes the anime as a whole more enjoyable. Something that Welcome to the Ballroom ultimately fails at. Well, that one part took longer than I thought, so let's quickly go on to my next point. The characters. These are not good characters to follow, either because they are lame, generic, or boring, or because they're just plain awful.
Our main character Tatsuda is just another bland protagonist. He doesn't have that much of a personality, and his motivations is one that we've seen before tons of times. To have drive towards something and to excel at it. If it was done good, then I wouldn't mind how cliched it is, but here it's pretty generic. His rival Hodio is just all over the place. He is usually supposed to give Tatsuda guidance, but he always gives him the wrong advice that never helps him and sometimes even makes him mess up. He also becomes so annoying that every time he talks I just want to punch him in the face. His partner Shizuku has the potential to be an interesting character, but the anime never gives her enough time to have this happen. Also, a lot of her scenes from the manga were cut, and even though a scene might be about her, a male character will talk instead, never giving Shizuku a chance to speak for herself. Gaju is just a bully most of the time, though he does get better in the second half. He's mean to Tatsuda, not that good to Shizuku, and very aggressive in the beginning towards his sister Mako. While he does get slowly better, he wasn't fun to watch. And lastly, and worst of all, was Tatsuda's teacher, Sengoku. This guy is mean, abusive, uncomfortable, and just not a good teacher in general. Almost every time he does something bad, I hate him more and more to the point when he wasn't in the second half at all, it made the anime a little bit more enjoyable to watch. Even though he's one of Japan's best ballroom dancers, he should definitely not be a teacher, or be around teenagers at all. His partner, on the other hand, she is awesome. That is all.
The only characters that I found myself enjoying a little were Mako and Chinatsu.
Mako had a good arc in trying to become strong and independent and getting her older brother Gaju to become her dance partner again. Her scenes towards the end of the first half were fun to watch, and I actually did enjoy her and Tatsuda's last dance together, resulting in a really great resolution. It was also nice to see her join the professional characters and offer guidance to Tatsuda and Chinatsu in the second half. Speaking of, I did also find myself enjoying Chinatsu a little bit as well, but probably because she had her own snarky personality and got to speak for herself. Her tsundere-ness could get annoying at times, but her journey was probably the strongest of the show, though that's not saying much. I also like the relationship between her and Akira, her old childhood friend and now rival, though it could have been stronger by the end.
The supporting characters aren't that much better either. Well, there are some good ones like Akira and Sengoku's partner, the rest aren't good.
Characters like the adults that either run or visit the dance studio that Tatsuda trains at are honestly just pointless by the end. They also aren't memorable at all, to the point where I forgot that they even existed until I made this video. Other characters like Hojo's mother or some other female characters lose their character enjoyability because of the show's use of fan service. I swear, the more I grow up, the more I get tired of fan service. And then others just bring really bad humor, like one of Sengoku's fellow competitors who...
Wow. Seriously. We're doing that? Oh my fucking god. In the end, except for parts of a few characters, most of the characters in Welcome to the Ballroom were bland, boring, too mean, only brought fan service, and are inappropriate or just entirely pointless. Last thing we'll talk about is what I believe to be the anime's biggest shortcoming. Its understanding on how ballroom dancing actually works. Now, I'll admit that I only have general knowledge on the aspects of what makes ballroom dancing what it is, but when watching the anime, I felt like I knew more about it than the creators did. Hell, even people who just watch Dancing with the Stars would have a better understanding of it than the creators do.
First is about partnership in ballroom dancing. Something that is said a lot in Welcome to the Ballroom is the understanding that when ballroom dancing, the male leads and the woman follows. Now, while there's some truth in that, it isn't that simple. Yes, it's true that in terms of positions and holds, there is a person who leads and a person who follows. Most couples do have the male leading and the female following, but same-sex dancing couples do exist in the world where both genders lead and follow in their respectable roles. They aren't the majority, but they do exist, and it's frustrating that Welcome to the Ballroom didn't seem to understand that.
Hell, characters in the anime bring up that some men are better at following and some women are better at leading. Like Tatsuda and Shinatsu, for example. But the anime doesn't really do anything with it, or anything that isn't already fucking obvious. More on that later. The anime also likes to equate dance partners as being in a sort of romantic relationship. Now, while it's true that long-term dance partners are close, spend a lot of time together, and have great chemistry, it does not mean in any way that they are dating.
But Welcome to the Ballroom seems to like to equate the two, especially when it comes to Tatsuda trying to find a dance partner. These two are not the same thing, despite what the anime says, because guess what? Siblings as dancing partners are a popular thing, just like Gaju and Mako in the anime, so they are not romantic partners. Moving on. The anime also doesn't seem to understand that both people are in control while dancing, and that the man, or the person that leads, is not in full control of every single part of it. While they aren't ever as extreme as the routines shown in Dancing with the Stars, the dancing couple do come up with a small dance routine for the competitions that they enter. These routines are developed based on the couple's best aspects and ways to have them stand out to the judges. So both people are in control of the dance that the both of them are performing in the competition, but the anime shows multiple times where the male character of the couple changed it up and the female character just has to follow along.
Sorry, but I don't think that's exactly how that works. The routine is already decided on. No need to change it all of a sudden. In real life competition, that would probably screw up the whole thing. Lastly is something that happened in the final episodes of the anime, so spoilers for this part. Though even though I don't seem to understand this part that well, Tatsuda and Shinatsu seem to come up with some kind of revolutionary dance style that ends up helping them win the competition in the last episode.
And from the way that I understood it, which I could totally be wrong, it featured the two of them shifting the leading and following styles and finding a balance to support each other and strengthen their individual weaknesses. Because of this, they become one combined dancing entity.
Hey, welcome to the ballroom. Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Guess what?
That's how partner dancing works in the first place! This revolutionary dance that the anime is trying to show as so surprising and never done before isn't actually that revolutionary. They just confirm what I've been saying this entire time, in that the lead and follow mechanics of ballroom dancing isn't as black and white as they convey it to be.
So when this moment happens and it expects you to be surprised at this new discovery, you're instead banging your head against the screen in total frustration. But then again, I could have interpreted this wrong, but who gives a shit?
Alright, let's finish this up already. Welcome to the Ballroom had a lot of potential in its concept and opening episodes, but it soon just turned into a shonen fantasy version of ballroom dancing. It has a poor understanding of how ballroom dancing even works, and its characters really bring down the enjoyability of it. Add on to the fact that the dance sequences were not executed well at all because of the poor production value and the removal of scenes that involved the female characters. It was also a bad adaptation of the manga that, though certainly has a bunch of problems, is leagues better than what's seen in the anime.
I'm probably being too harsh on this anime, but I'm a big fan of ballroom dancing. So when this anime was announced, I was really excited. I suppose in the end it just didn't reach my expectations. I wanted to relive my interest in ballroom dancing, but this anime made that interest into indifference. And that's why Welcome to the Ballroom didn't work. Sometimes I feel like I get too serious when I do these videos. I mean, this time, I looked and criticized an anime that people actually like. So next time, I can't look at a really popular anime that lots of people like and will hate me if I do it next episode. Till next time.